Welcome back, race fans. It's group number 6 of round 1 of NASCAR Generations, and folks, it is getting hot out there. Competition is closer than ever with this group of 6. Let's go ahead and meet our drivers. First up, we have Victor Fastlane, driving for Victor Fastlane Speed Shop. Next up, we have Numskull on the number 42 car, driving for Numskull Racing. He's known to be fast. Will he live up to his name? Next, we have Dr. Dodge, driving for Sisters of Heavy Metal. Oh yeah, heavy metal. Next up, it's Kinney, driving for ICT DRL, the Diecast Racing League. And then it's Boondocks, driving for MQH Racing in that beautiful blue Mustang. Will that Mustang cause chaos in the track? We shall find out. And last but not least, it's Chase Family Racing End Count in the 6th position in that beautiful Bel Air. Let's head straight into race number 1 of Group 6. Here we go.
Thanks so much for that introduction, Patrick. It's race number 1 of Group 6. We are out of there. It's Dr. Dodge in the pole position, followed by Boondocks right in his tail. Into turn 1 they go. Boondocks takes the outside. End Count takes the inside and passes Dr. Dodge and moves into the first place position. The Mustang's driving backwards. He's doing Mustang things, causing chaos back there. And it's End Count crossing the finish line. The start-finish line. It's the start-finish line for first place in race number 1, taking 6 points. There you see Boondocks sideways, getting spun around, deciding to drive in reverse for whatever reason, but really just getting in everybody's way. Typical Mustang out there on the track. Let's hope he can get his act together because we like to see some good racing here on the Big O.
I'm extremely impressed by End Count there in his move to the first place position, taking 6 points. We have Dr. Dodge taking 5. They rotate 1 position clockwise. It's now Boondocks out front in the Mustang. End Count right behind him in the Bel Air, followed by Kimmy in the 24 car, or is that William Byron? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, Patrick, I was thinking the same thing. It looks like Kimmy painted his car exactly like William Byron's car from the NASCAR Generations. The NASCAR Cup Series, the real one. But I will tell you, it is Kimmy driving that car, and boy, Kimmy is fast. Watch this, the number 24 car getting bumped by Dr. Dodge right there, and then making the pass on the inside on Boondocks, making a run for End Count in the Bel Air, but does not get around. End Count takes another victory here in race number 2 and 6 more points, followed by Kimmy, Boondocks, Dr. Dodge, Numskull, and Victor Fastlane.
All right, after 2 races, we have End Count out front with 12 points. And now End Count rotates into the pole position. What will he do here with the pole position? We find out right now. It's Kimmy on his tail and Numskull falling back just slightly, but accelerating straight into the side of Boondocks in the Mustang. Boondocks slowing him down. For the battles between End Count and Kimmy, who's going to take first place? End Count sideways, Kimmy on the outside, and Kimmy passes right at the finish line. Holy cow, that was a heck of a finish here in the NASCAR Generations group number 6 of round 1. Let's slow it down for you and watch again.
Yeah, Patrick, it looked like Kimmy was on a mission here, right on End Count's tail. And when End Count makes the single mistake, he spins around in the last turn, and watch this execution from William Byron. I mean, Kimmy, in that last turn as they cross the finish line, he takes it by about a half of a car and takes 6 points, stopping End Count from getting a 3rd race win in a row, aka a turkey if we're bowling. All right, it's Numskull with 6. And why are we announcing Numskull? I'm not really sure. It's End Count out front with 17 points. And here we go into the next race. It is now it's Kimmy out front in that beautiful next-gen NASCAR. And Numskull coming right on the inside. Will Numskull be able to get by Kimmy? They're side by side. The camera hits the track and shakes, and Kimmy is off to the races, and Numskull is backwards. And there we go down across the finish line. It's Kimmy, Numskull, End Count, Boondocks, Victor Fastlane, and Dr. Dodge sliding in reverse across the finish line, taking 1 point. But every point matters in this, folks, and we will find out. Something tells me this group is going to be a tight wad. All right, there we go. Kimmy is in first place, takes 6 points. Numskull comes across backwards. It's End Count in that beautiful Bel Air. Boondocks, Victor Fastlane, and Dr. Dodge taking 1 point. And what does that mean for the score as we go into race number 5? It's still End Count out front, followed by Kimmy and Boondocks coming in next. The battle is going to be for 3rd place here, folks. We have End Count up front, Kimmy right behind, but who is going to take 3rd? It's Numskull's chance at the pole position, and Victor Fastlane hard on his tail. I said hard on. But Numbskull pulls ahead. Now Victor Fastlane and Kimmy are battling it out. Is Kimmy going to be able to get by? Victor Fastlane knows Kimmy's faster, so he pulls a block maneuver on him. But does he get by? No, it's Victor Fastlane, Kimmy, Dr. Dodge after Numbskull's first place run.
Then it's really a shame to record these live because I probably would not have left the word hard on in our commentary. But it's in there and it's staying forever on the internet. There you see Victor Fastlane right on the tail of Numbskull. Numbskull does manage to get away from him, and then Victor Fastlane has another problem. It's Kimmy. He slides sideways to put the block on Kimmy into the last turn they go. Just kidding, this isn't the last turn, but there is a battle between Dr. Dodge and N-Count in the back. But Dr. Dodge wins that battle. You have Numbskull coming across for first, and in the close second, third, fourth between Victor Fastlane, Kimmy, and Dr. Dodge. And Numbskull, that's N-Count trickling in after that. And Boondock's back there. I think he bought a 6-cylinder version of the Mustang. The Mustang you never want to buy. Who would ever buy a Mustang with 6 cylinders? And that's a big ass turbo.
That's right, Patrick. Big old turbo on that sucker, maybe. All right, the race here is for third place. We have Victor Fastlane out in front, but Numbskull needs some points or else he will not be moving on. He's getting blocked by Dr. Dodge, and Victor Fastlane looks like he is going to take this one. We have a big group of cars back here for second, third, fourth, and fifth. The battle here is for third place. Who will move on? It's 6 points for Victor Fastlane, 5 for Dr. Dodge, and then Boondocks. And what does that mean for the score? We shall find out in a second, but let's watch this replay. Dr. Dodge puts a block on Numbskull and Boondocks. Kimmy tries to avoid it by going wide, then going inside, does not get by. We still have a cluster, causing Boondocks to get on the inside of Numbskull, and Numbskull loses yet another position. Numbskull was ahead of Victor Fastlane in points for the third place and moving on. However, I'm not sure what that means for the score with Numbskull coming in fourth place in this race. Victor Fastlane takes 6. It's Dr. Dodge taking 5. Boondocks, then Numbskull, then Kimmy, and then N-Count. All right, we have N-Count moving on, and Kimmy moving on, and we have a tie for third place. And you know what that tie means? We have a race-off. And in NASCAR Generations, we do an overtake challenge because there is a lane disadvantage here. So we have an overtake challenge, and it's the first car to overtake the other car. And because Numbskull qualified in a faster time, he starts in the back and has the first opportunity at an overtake. But he buckles under pressure, and Victor Fastlane is able to hold off Numbskull in overtake challenge number 1. We'll run these, folks, until we have an overtake, until one car passes the other car, and the car that passes successfully will move on.
Now, this is super exciting. This is the first ever overtake challenge we have seen in the NASCAR Generations series. It's heating up. It's race number 2 of the tiebreaker, and now Victor Fastlane gets his chance behind Numbskull. Numbskull ahead by about a half of a car. Will he pull ahead? It's Victor Fastlane right on his tail. Can Victor Fastlane get by? Numbskull accelerates into the race in the turn number 2 and pulls far ahead of Victor Fastlane. It's not looking good for Victor Fastlane on this overtake. He'll have to go into another round.
Yeah, that one was not even close. Victor Fastlane fell back there pretty far. And I think if you're Victor Fastlane, you have to be worried about this next race with Numbskull behind you and that beautiful number 42. We'll re-rack back to the starting line, and Numbskull will take the back position. Will this be the final overtake? Will Numbskull move on, or will Victor Fastlane be able to hold off Numbskull and go into another overtake round? We find out right now. Race number 3 of the tiebreaker is in action. Down the main straight they go, and they're out of there. They're accelerating, and Victor Fastlane pulling out early. Numbskull falling back. Is this a strategy? What is Numbskull doing? He's 6, 7, 8 cars behind. What is going on? Victor Fastlane way out in front, but Numbskull closing the gap. Victor Fastlane slides to the outside, and Numbskull takes the inside. Numbskull passes and crosses the finish line for first place. The overtake challenge is complete, and Numbskull moves on. Whoa, let's slow it down and watch it again. It's almost like there was an actual driver in that car as Victor Fastlane took the outside, and Numbskull steered into the inside, passing him, not even bumping into him, not even touching him, and moving on with the third place spot in the bracket. Let's go ahead and move the cars along the bracket. First of all, it's Kimmy, aka William Byron, in the number 24. And moving on to the second place position, we have N-Count from Chase Family Racing, and he's apparently driving backwards. We'll get that fixed for the next bracket for you. And last but not least, in that third spot, it's Numbskull driving for Numbskull Racing. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you in the next NASCAR Generations race number 7.